We have been trying to remember who did Hang On Sloopy originally.
The McCoys.
I was right. I told you, the McCoys. Okay. Yeah.
Lead guitar player, Rick Derringer. Went on to other good guys.
Rick Derringer was lead guitar?
He was.
Okay. Hang on, Sloopy, Sloopy, hang on. Good morning. Our next edition of Music Trivia will take place later today. Hi, I'm Scott. I'm going to be your host for a little bit, and I am still digesting from last night. Oh, my Lord. I wanted to, if you didn't make it last night, there was enough food to feed 2 small cities, and Edward and Amy did an absolutely marvelous, generous job. So thank you both. Intention Fest 2023, they say they're going to do it every weekend now. So.
I asked them for once a quarter.
Once a quarter, yeah. Well, I'm not thinking it's happening that often. All righty. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. If you are new or just joining us for the first time, a special extra welcome to you. And we've got the slides going. So the way, before we do that, let me get out the... We always like to start with an acknowledgement of the native lands on which we are. So, the Eureka Center for Spiritual Living acknowledges that the land on which we gather is the ancestral territory of the Wiyot peoples. This territory extends to the communities through most of Humboldt County, and we honor the Wiyot peoples today as we do every day. So with that in mind, we're going to throw up on these... Sorry. We're going to put up on the screen the affirmation that we say every week. Together we'll all say the top part of the affirmation, and then you will turn to somebody when you see the bottom part, and you will say it with sincerity and love in your heart, of course. So together we say, we are a welcoming community where the vibration of love lifts us, the wisdom of the ages inspires us, and the science of mind teaching empowers us. Turn to somebody else and say, I honor the path that brought you here this morning. We'll put up our glance at a week schedule. That's coming up. This is everything that's coming up this week. There is no book circle this week. Speaking of fun things that are coming up this week, next week, this is the time of year where we all say, I can't believe it's this time of year already. But next week is the end of October. Karen Blakely, who's not here today, will be doing the talk next week in lieu of Angelica. So she'll be talking about cultivating your inner spiritual rebel. Make sure to be here for that. We have several fun events that are coming up. They happen to be coordinated by me, but please attend. The first one is if you went to see Pintaro, this is not that. Yeah, well, so did I. That was quite frankly a life-altering situation to be able to do those roles. But we are bringing back the classic. I'm sure everybody's aware of It's a Wonderful Life. You have not seen it this way. What we are doing at the North Coast Repertory Theater is we are recreating a 1940s radio station. There will be the applause lights, there will be the on-air light, the sound effect. There are 5 main actors and some other actors that are involved too, and each of the main actors does several voices. So, for example, I'm doing Clarence the Angel, and Uncle... I know, I'm really excited. I get to do Uncle Billy, Harry Bailey, and one of the things that stayed on, I play Ernie the cab driver, and they liked my Mr. Rosen so much that Ernie the cab driver in this version is Yiddish. So it's going to be a very fun night. It's interactive with the audience. And as we do here at the center, first night, that's opening night, is November 17th. If you would like to attend, we have a sign-up sheet by the lovely and talented James over there. Other sign-up sheet. We have 2 sign-up sheets. Sign up. If we get at least 10, I actually believe it might be 8, then it's a $2 discount per person, and what will happen is the week before the play, so around November 12th, I think is our Sunday here, that I will pay for it, and then everybody will pay me, and pay me back. So that'll be November 17th is our opening, which also happens to be Jeff's birthday. And my son Daniel's, yes. It'll be a Friday night.
Gladly pay you Tuesday.
What was that?
We'll gladly pay you Tuesday.
For a hamburger today, thank you. So that's that, and the play will run for 4 weeks. So whether or not you can make it that night, it's 4 solid weeks. So it's a wonderful life, the radio play. Also, if you would like to have a real feel-good feeling, our next slide, please, Marvin. We are bringing back yet again the holiday decoration exchange. Sign up for this. You will feel so good in being involved in this. What we do is we collect decorations from all over the city, from wherever we can get them. People donate decorations. We set them all out in the other room, and then people come and pick them up for free. It's just, all we do is give away decorations. People come in, they go, what do I have to pay? We go, nothing. What about if I get several of them? It's still nothing. What about if I get like a whole bunch? It's still nothing. It's still nothing. So anyway, we are looking to collect decorations. We're not yet collecting them because we got to find a place to put them yet. However, we are collecting volunteers, and what we need are volunteers to staff the event, to help set up the event, to help tear down the event. This year we're cutting it down from noon to 4 to noon to 3 for a couple of reasons. The last hour was a little sparse last year, plus I have the play that night, so I got to get off to the play. But if you would like to volunteer, we need people doing publicity. We need people talking to local businesses who might be willing to donate decorations. We need another organization, preferably a nonprofit, that will take what is left at the end of the event and sell them or do whatever they want to do with them. So there's a sign-up sheet for that also, and that will be December 2nd. Okay, Marvin is going to be on vacation November 12th. We need people to help support with tech, to help with the cameras, to help with the microphones, to be our substitute Marvin. There is no real substitute for Marvin, but somebody will sit in that chair. Our book...
We don't have to bring food, though, do we? Because he does good food, and I don't want to bring food.
Okay. No, we don't have to bring food.
It's not just for the 12th, it's for...
Yeah, in general.
People to help them anyway.
Yeah. This center runs on volunteers, you know. You could double my pay and I'm still making the same amount of money as everybody else who's volunteering here. So please, if you'd like to be involved in the center in any way, shape, or form, we can find a place for you. Bookstore. We've got some great books. We also have some lousy ones, but we don't announce those. The books are on sale. All of those by Ernest Holmes, who was the founder of the philosophy, are on sale for 20% off. Another way that we help the community is our little pantry, which is right outside. If you have food that you would like to donate to the little pantry, non-perishable.
We really need food right now.
We do, okay. And it goes quickly. We've put food out on one day and it's gone by the end of the day. So if you don't have any with you or you want to bring a big amount, walk and all, are you still here on Mondays?
I am here.
Okay, she is still here on Mondays. You can bring a whole bunch by and she will make sure to distribute it over time. And I think
From
Noon to 4.
from noon to 4.
They also could just put it in.
They could, yeah.
Put it in the bin.
They could do that. Do not put in a baggie full of spaghetti sauce, though. I saw that once. That's just that's not what we need. Yeah, non-perishable spaghetti sauce. I'm not sure.
Somebody put some fruit in there recently, and I just left it.
Some fruit?
Fruit?
Yeah. Okay. It probably goes quickly enough, but yeah, even so. And you can see the specific ones that we really need, but we'll take anything. Okay, I think that's it for the announcements. Let's get to today's theme, or this month's theme, which is Spiritual Rebels. And I'm going to call Donna up to lead the chant that we start off. And then after that, Susan, you'll just introduce Susan for the Contemplative.
Thank you.
I know you can do it. Okay, it's all yours.
Yes, I can. Have a breath with me. Oh, Great Spirit, and see you are inside and all around me. Oh, Great Spirit, earth, sun, sky, and sea, you are inside and all around me. Oh, Great Spirit, earth, sun, sky, and sea, you are inside and amazing for our contemplative.
I'm hurrying. Good morning. Both everybody here and those on Zoom. When I was thinking about spiritual rebels, the name Thomas More came to mind. For those of you that don't know Thomas More, he, at the age of 13, entered a Roman Catholic seminary, was there for 13 years as a student and a monk. 6 months before he was to be ordained as a priest, his prior asked him, if you have any doubts, then maybe you should postpone this or not do it. And he looks at him and he goes, yes, I have doubts. And so he left the monastery. He has, I think, 3 or 4 college degrees, a PhD in religious sciences. He was a professor at a university. And then he went on and became a psychotherapist. In 1992, he wrote his first book, Care of the Soul, which was the beginning of everything. He has written 30 books since then and has touched millions of people's lives. So he went from a monk to a spiritual leader. So he is my choice for a spiritual rebel today. I am reading not from Care of the Soul, I'm reading from his other books, The Soul's Religion, and it's about belief. So I invite you to just get comfortable in your chairs. If it feels right, you can close your eyes. After the reading, there'll be a minute of silence, so you can take these words in, and then Jackson will sing us into the invocation. As important as it is to believe, it is even more important not to believe. Pure belief is too thick. There is no room for movement and no motive for reflection. A person can be so full of belief that he is blinded to the unorganized, raw, and chaotic life all around him. He spits out his belief, but it is irrelevant in a world infinitely more complex than his beliefs. Even a small amount of unbelief gives life a chance to proceed. If we don't doubt God and our spiritual path, we are out of the flow of life. There is no more hum, no music, no movement. We may enjoy the peace of not having to struggle with belief, but that silence may signal the end of spiritual vitality.
I'm here to remind you of your magnificence, to help you awake to all the wonder that you are. I long to show you all the joy I'm here to remind you how much you're truly loved.
And yes, we are truly loved, and yes, we are magnificent. I know that as we allow the consciousness of our connection to the one life, to the divine, to the universe, we know we can expand, we can grow. Even with our doubts, if we might have them, we are more than that. We are light, we are love, and we come together in this community to celebrate that, to support, to love, to laugh, to cry maybe. But we all come together knowing that we are divine, wonderful spiritual personifications of the one life. And so I know that as we come together, we hear today the one thing that we need, either through the music, through the talk, through a conversation with a friend or a stranger. I know that hearts touch hearts, minds touch minds, and we are all made so much richer because of that. And so I simply let this gathering unfold in its right and perfect way, because I know that there is no other way. It is all good, and so it is.
I long to show you all the joy you're worthy of. I'm here to remind you how much you're truly loved.
And now I'd like to welcome Reverend Angelica to the podium.
Well, it's good to see everybody this morning. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the Zoomers for being here as well. When I was sitting there and I'm looking off to the side, I'm seeing all these empty seats and going, where is everybody? And I realized you're all sitting in the back. Does somebody need a shower? Do I need a shower? Anyway. So we're continuing our Spiritual Rebel series today, and what I want to talk to you about today was Dr. Holmes, a spiritual rebel. And when I think about this, I want to remind myself and everybody else, here's my definition of what a spiritual rebel is. It's someone who stands up for what they believe in regardless of the norm or how they might be treated for it. It's someone that has the courage to live what they believe. It's someone who impacts change in the world, and it's someone who finds ways to make their work serve a higher purpose. And so, yes, I would say that Dr. Ernest Holmes was indeed a spiritual rebel. So I went online and did some journeying with Chat AI. Have you guys played with that at all? Oh my goodness, you can find out so much stuff. And then, of course, I have to then verify that that's real, etc. But this is what I read. Well, this is what I wrote from what I read. In his time, Dr. Ernest Holmes stood out in the field. Not alone, because he learned from so many people. One of the things that, if you've read his life story written by Fenwick Holmes, his brother, when he started his adventure really early. They used to call him, his mother called him the question mark because he was always asking questions about things. But they went on a holiday, the family went on a holiday to Cape Cod, I believe it was, and they went to his aunt's house, And at his aunt's house, he found a copy of Emerson's essays. And that sent him off on a journey, a big journey. So he learned from a lot of people. Out of this journey, he not only read Emerson's essays, but he got his hands on everything that he could find, including the major writings of the teachings of the time, the religious or spiritual teachings of the time. In fact, he was, as later in his life, he was so well versed in the faith traditions of the Hindus that a college there gave him a doctorate, an honorary doctorate, which you never hear about, but they did. So he learned from a lot of people. But in his society, in the circles that he was living in, his views were considered revolutionary. He was a revolutionary. You know, his views should have been mainstream because as he had studied all the other world religions of his time, he took this piece because it was a thread that was in everything. He took this piece because it was a thread that was in everything. And he put them all together to make the science of mind. So the core teachings of all of the world's religions of his time are in what we're learning as well. So he lived, though, at a time when church was, and still is, traditional church, political. And so he had to shed all the trappings and embrace the truth that so many of the organized American religions had already thrown out. So one of the things I thought about when I was thinking about this is that traditional churches have a lot of trappings. Like I lived at a girls' Catholic school and went to Mass every day and Vespers every evening, etc. And there were a lot of rules. I mean, one, women could not be priests. I mean, I announced as a third grader, I'm going to be a priest when I grow up. And all the nuns are like, ha, 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 you know. Sure you are. So the dogma is really thick. You have to wear certain clothing. There's certain foods that you can eat, like with the Catholics, you have to eat fish on Fridays, right? There's certain celebrations that are always held. There's definitely a hierarchy of leadership and things you can or cannot read, and lots of different symbols. And he basically threw those out, Dr. Holmes did. And so he didn't really like the idea of church at first. So he created this teaching, and he started the Institute of Religious Science Studies. And as time went by, I heard two different things about why we became churches. One was because a certain company that is still around, an oil company, wanted to donate a lot of money to him and the organization, but they couldn't because it wasn't a nonprofit. So his board said, we should become a church. So there was the money thing. But I also heard that Dr. Holmes, being who he was, realized that he had to meet people where they were. And people were used to going to church on Sunday mornings. It had been traditional for a really long time. And so he started the idea of church on Sunday morning to help people learn these teachings on familiar, so to speak, grounds. He also really understood that change is scary for most people. So our teaching has never insisted that we give up cherished memories or our symbolism. And when I thought about that, I thought, you know what? I bet probably every one of us in here has put up Christmas decorations, which is symbolism, isn't it? So one of the things that I realized while I was reading about his life was that he was going through his studies, going through his evolution, and in fact, I can't remember the man's name right now, but one of the people that was with him in the beginning and all the way through, said that one day I heard him speak at a seminar, this man, and he said one day, years after the science mind has been established, he goes into Dr. Holmes' office. They used to have a place in Los Angeles called Founders Church, and Dr. Holmes is there reading the textbook. And he goes, "Ernest, what are you doing?" He says, "I'm studying." And the guy goes, "But you wrote that book." And he said, "It never ends. That the more you study it, the more your consciousness expands." So I love that about him, the fact that he never thought, "Oh, this is it and that's that." He was open to learning, open to continually doing studies, continually expanding his own consciousness so then he could share that with others. But there was back to this idea of shedding the trappings of traditional Christian churches. I thought about, well, so what would those have been? And I came up with a few of them. So the first one that I came up with is to shed the trapping, the idea that God is a man in the sky. When I was in Catholic school and we first were having astronauts flying up there, I kept asking, well, did they see God? Did they see heaven? I mean, I was sure it was somewhere close, right? So what did Ernest Holmes do? He changed it because he says that God is absolutely everywhere. There is nothing but this divine energy. It's making up everything. And if you go into quantum physics right now, they're going to tell you that there's nothing out there at all except this energy. And that as you move through your life with your thoughts and your beliefs and a consensus consciousness with other people, you create. We've created this center through a consensus consciousness. Otherwise, it's not really here. I think Dr. Holmes would have loved quantum physics. He was just starting to get into it when he died in the 60s. I think he would have just been so enamored. It would have changed a lot of things that he wrote. So another thing that we've been taught, if you were raised in a traditional Christian church, is that you're born in sin and suffering is normal. Anybody have that teaching? So what do we say in the Science of Mind? We don't say that we're born in sin. In fact, to us, sin, we go back to the original translation for the word sin, which means missing the mark. It means you made a mistake. And suffering is not normal. It will happen during our lifetime, but it's not something that will happen all life long. Another one that I thought of was that God is the great punisher. I can remember in Catholic school, I told you I lived there, I used to lay in bed thinking that all there were eyes, God's eyes, because God can see everything. And I was always afraid that I was going to do something wrong. And what Dr. Holmes taught us was that God is the energy of love. It's not an anthropomorphic being at all. It doesn't have 1,000 eyes like I thought it did. It's love. It's the energy of love. And that we are loved all the time, whether we know it or not. All we have to do is to open up to it. Another thing I thought about that we were taught in the traditional church is that you have to work really hard to please God so you don't go to hell. We don't believe in hell. Or the hell that we believe in is something that we create for ourselves. I've created things in my life where I felt like I was in hell, haven't you? Where everything was just, one thing after another went wrong. But there isn't a place called hell. And we don't have to work really hard to please God. In fact, what we learn in the Science of Mind is that God is impersonal. It just loves and loves and loves, because that's what it is. It's the energy of divine love. And so no matter what you're doing, you're going to be loved anyway. I thought about this. The question comes up in first year when we're teaching this about, well, what about Hitler? And the truth is that even Hitler was loved by the divine, regardless, because that's all it knows how to do. But the other thing about this energy is it only has one word, and that word is yes. So if I'm thinking, oh, I'm sick, or I'm poor, or I'm selfish, or I'm hateful, or whatever I might be thinking about myself, the universe says yes. Yes, you are. Or if I'm thinking, well, they shouldn't have done that, they should be more like this, etc., then the universe says yes. And so we get to see that all through our life. That, to me, was a big eye-opener when I realized that the only word God knows is yes, which means it's my responsibility, which is one of the things that I have as well. We're taught that we're powerless. You have no power. And yet the science of mind teaches us that we have all the power we choose to accept, and that we're each individually responsible for our own lives. You can't say, the devil made me do it. Doesn't work. Who was that comedian that used to say that all the time on stage?
Flip Wilson.
Flip Wilson, yeah. The devil made me do it. But remember that you have responsibility for your own life. Another thing about this idea about responsibility for your own life is that the science of mind doesn't tell you, oh, you need to be a vegetarian. You need to, whatever the other rules that...
Be here on Sunday.
Yes, you do need to be here on Sunday. I like doing this, so I want you to be here on Sunday. What? Be here on Sunday. The more people that are here, the better it is, right? So, we each have the responsibility for our own life, and whatever we speak into the law is going to go, yes, my darling, and it's going to give that to you. So if I want to live a loving, happy life, then what I'm going to speak about is being loving and happy, and speaking about other people around me being loving and happy. You know, part of the intention party last night was creating intentions for our lives. And I've realized over and over again throughout my life since I was a kid that I have a bad back. So every once in a while it goes out and I suffer from it. And I keep thinking to myself, why am I allowing that to happen? If in truth it's done unto me as I believe, then I need to start believing that there's something, that my backbone is really strong. And I remembered that my Hawaiian sister, my Hanai sister in Hawaii, her father's Hawaiian name meant the backbone of the divine. And I thought, wow, it's actually a line of mountains that he was named after. But I thought, yes, that's what I'm going to start claiming. My backbone is the backbone of the divine. It's God's backbone. So how could it possibly be out of order? And the more I believe that, the more I allow myself to believe that, the more it will be true. And that's with not just me, but anybody. Another thing I thought about was that the traditional church teaches us that our intuition is not real, that it's airy-fairy thinking. And let me tell you, for me, our intuition is the voice of the divine. It's like a translating device, because I don't think I could really hear or understand the overwhelming aspect of the voice of the divine, being that the divine is everything. But my intuition translates that and gives me little messages. For instance, years ago, before I was a minister, I was working at a company in Glendale, California, and I always took the mail to the post office, which was right around the corner. And I drive over there, and I do that, and then I'm driving back. I'm stopped at a stoplight, and this voice says, with no emotion or anything, turn left here. And I said, why do I want to turn left? I don't have to go to the store. I'm going home. Turn left here. Why? Turn left here. It had no emotion to it or anything. It just kept saying, turn left here, and I argued with it. And the light turned green, and I got hit by a car. So can you imagine if I had done what I said I was going to do, what the voice was telling me to do, I would have avoided a smashed up car. What happened was I went across the street. Just as I crossed the street, there was an alley in back of the bank and stuff that was over there, and someone came out of that alley. I'm driving a little yellow Volkswagen in a big Cadillac, and they weren't going slow, and I got hit. At that time, we didn't have to have our seatbelts fastened, so I got thrown to the side of the car, which probably saved my life. But did nothing for my back, though. But I know that you've all had a point in your life where your intuition has told you something. The phone's ringing, and you go, oh, that's Mom. And you pick it up. And you could say, oh, hi, Mom, but you never do because maybe you're not right. We've all had experiences of our intuition. And the more we allow ourselves to use it, the more we will benefit from it, and the more we will hear it. Again, for me, it's the voice of the divine. It's a translating device for the voice of the divine. And my last one is, traditional church teaches you that women can't teach religion. Well, ha ha. I was so happy when the Episcopal Church decided to start having women priests and allowing, when you think about it, the mother of a family is the one that teaches the children everything. So why not teach spirituality to your children? Which reminds me of that Barbara Streisand movie. What was it called? Yettle? Yeah, wasn't that good? I mean, they talked about that very thing. So here's just a few of the trappings of a more traditional teaching. Now, I might be saying that these are things I don't appreciate about them, but I'm not putting them down because I know that every church has a reason for being. And it's serving the people that are going. When it gets too political, then I wonder about that. But I know that whatever form of religion we choose to accept, however we choose to allow God into our lives, it's going to work for us. And it's going to keep working for us forever. So was Dr. Holmes a spiritual rebel? Absolutely. Because he let go of the forms that were common in his day, and he started something different. There is somebody asked many years ago if we were Christian, if religious science is Christian. And I said, have you read the textbook? Because he's got a lot of things about Jesus in there. Not the way you think it might be. But the thing that comes to mind when somebody asks me that is the story that I heard from one of the men that had been with him originally. Dr. Holmes got invited to a presidential prayer breakfast. And he's at this presidential prayer breakfast, and there's sitting with him at the table he was at a very popular Christian minister from the East Coast. And the man says to Dr. Holmes, hey, I hear you're doing great work out there on the West Coast. You're getting a lot of people. How are you doing that? And Dr. Holmes goes, we practice what you preach. And that's what we want to do. We want to practice this teaching of love, this teaching of knowing that there's only one energy, one life, one God, whatever you want to call it, and that this energy is here ready and willing to serve us in whatever way we choose. So for us, our job is to pay attention. Pay attention to how we're feeling. Pay attention to what we're thinking about. Because those two things are the keys to manifestation in this world. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? And I'm not going to tell you that it's wrong to be thinking certain things, because each one of us is individually responsible for our own lives. And sometimes we just feel mad, or we just feel resentful, or we're sad, or we're happy, or whatever. It's part of the human experience. So get into it. My teacher, Helen Street, used to say, it's okay for you to be angry. Just set aside a time. Give yourself 15 minutes. Be really angry during those 15 minutes, and then go back to being love. I thought, yeah, okay, I could do that. It's much better than being angry for days about something or for years about something. Just set a little period of time aside, and pretty soon it'll become funny. That's what I found. Because I always tell the universe, I want to learn gently, easily, and humorously. So yes, Dr. Holmes was a spiritual rebel, and how grateful I am for that. So let's read our affirmation for today. Like Ernest Holmes, I remain open at the top and trust the divine urge within is leading me to my greatest yet to be. And let's go into prayer. For those of you who don't know, our form of prayer is called spiritual mind treatment. It's different. So gratefully I acknowledge that there is only one power, one presence, one life, one heart, one unconditionally loving mind. And we can call that God, or first cause, or the source, or any name that feels comfortable to us. But we recognize that it is always present. There is no way you can get away from it, because as they say, there is no spot where God is not. And knowing this, we recognize that not only is there only God, but God is expressing in, through, and as us right here and right now, always has been and always will be. And so I choose, speaking in the first person for all of us to make it easier for you to embody if you choose, I choose to pay attention. I choose to allow myself to inherit that idea of being a spiritual rebel, letting go of all the trappings of religion from my past, moving into a place where I understand that I am co-creating this universe with the divine. And so I see myself as healthy and wealthy and loving, compassionate. I see myself as being able to use my hands in a way that serves others. I see myself as a spiritual being, walking a spiritual path called being a human. And how grateful I am that I can do this. And as I do this, I allow myself to know good and more good, not only for myself and the people in my immediate circles of life, but I choose to know this for our whole planet. Regardless of what I see on the news, regardless of what is happening out there, I now allow myself just to shower that with love, knowing that something higher and greater is coming forth from the experience. I claim that. I know that the truth always wins. So as I celebrate life, I know that life celebrates me. And how grateful I am for all of this. How grateful I am to know that I can feel and speak my word and have life happen around me in greater and greater ways. In greater ways for myself, for the people around me, for my planet. This is good. This is God. It's all God. And so I give thanks for remembering these things. I give thanks for knowing how powerful I am, how powerful we all are. I give thanks for everything. And I release these words into divine law, knowing that they are already so, and so it is. Edward is giving us the gift of music this morning, so. Oh, I thought, oh, Edward, you've changed.
Well, he did. No sound, no sound, no sound. Well, as you can see, I am not Edward. Edward couldn't make it today. We had a prior lunching, or should I say breakfast engagement, and he wasn't quite feeling up to it. So I am taking his place. Hopefully I can work this thing. I am Honest John Fox. You might know me from Pinocchio fame. I'm the one that talked that ingrate little stringless wooden puppet into joining the puppet show. And later, I talked him into going to Pleasure Island, where he made a total ass of himself. But since Edward trusted me with this, if you can digest that, I am going to do a song made famous by that little meddlesome, what was it, a bug that always stayed with him, the little green thing, Jiminy, what you said. I thought that the movie should have been titled Honest John and Friends, but the puppet took priority. So anyway, since you guys don't like High Diddle Dee An Actor's Life for me, I will do the one that you do, which is made famous by that stupid cricket. My hat's off.
Now, when people,
May I have my walking stick?
oh, I thought you needed this thing too.
Well, that too.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
There you go.
I will see you for lunch.
When people say, what does Edward look like? It is now appropriate to say he's a real fox. As you know, we have a Facebook and an Instagram account. Incidentally, they're both Eureka Center for Spiritual Living, and they're both growing nicely. And part of what I do when my wife's not here, who handles Instagram, is I sit on the floor, hurt my back, and take photographs, and I take a video. And I'm thinking, as I'm videoing this, if somebody didn't get the context to this, and this just shows up on our Facebook page, they're going to go, what the hell goes on over there? Seemed like a cross between a Salvador Dali, Kafka-esque kind of moment as we were doing it. So thank you, Edward. Okay, as we proceed with the rest of the service, let's see here. It is time to do our offering affirmation, and I need a couple of people to help pass the plate. If there is, please put in what you can. If you can't put in anything, put in lots of love. We can always use that. So as we get ready to pass these along together, we all say, I gratefully give from the fullness of my abundance, knowing my gift blesses the center, all in it and beyond, and so it is. And if you're online or you just forgot and you would like to donate via the web, that is the place you can do it, or you can mail it on in. I know and I am so grateful that there is only one energy, and that energy is love, and it circulates in, around, through, and is all of us. This money, these contributions that we collect are part of that infinite divine energy, and as we accept these, we know that they go out into our community, into the world, and into the universe, creating a ripple of love with no end. For that, I am amazingly grateful, and I know that this is happening even though I might not pay attention to it all the time. And for that, I am grateful, and I say, and so it is. Okay, let's see here. We're going to do the community statement of inclusion, and then there'll be another couple of items, and then we will be done. We have somebody, if there's somebody who would like to come up and read our community statement of inclusion, especially if you haven't done it before, but even if you have, we would love to have somebody come up here and take the lectern from me. Okay, Lorna, wonderful. You will have to wear a fox suit as you do this. Yes. All right, it's right here, so you don't even have to look up
Wonderful.
there.
All right. We, the Eureka Center for Spiritual Living, are a community that celebrates diversity, fosters inclusion, champions inner work, and creates space for brave, a lot of reflection, vulnerable conversations. We are a community that honors the unique emanation of God that each person embodies and advocates with people for human rights and dignity for all. We are a community that blesses each other, sees sacredness in all life, remains learners and listeners so that we may grow together, and understands that oneness is not sameness. And together, we know our beloved community is revealed more fully when we love each other well.
Thank you, Lorna. Before we get to the last couple of, James, would you be so kind as to go find our fox and his wife, please?
Get the fox.
Get the fox and our wife, please. And his wife, please. Mr. and Mrs. Fox. While we're waiting for them to come in, I just wanted to say at the end of today's service, we'll get to this in a second, if you need help, if you would like to shore up your faith, reaffirm a goal, if you need some support for a challenge, if you just want a spiritual or emotional surge as you go about your day, the practitioners are available. All you have to do is approach any one of us. There's myself, there's Walk in Awe, there's Susan, of course there's Angelica, there's Edward with or without the fox costume, and I don't know who else is here, but we are here to help you and provide whatever support. Amy and Edward, we had something, if you would come forward.
I've been regurgitated too, by the way.
Been regurgitated?
Yeah, I was unappetizing.
We just wanted to thank you guys for the great party last night.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I notice it matches. Last week you matched, this week she matches. Thank you very much for all you did last night.
And we have food in there.
And there's lots of food if you are. There is no reason to leave here hungry. Okay, so before we get to our closing song, one of the, I hate using the word things because it's so generic, but part of what we do in our philosophy is what we call demonstrations, and a demonstration is a physical manifestation of a thought that we have put into the universe. As Angelica said, the universe only knows how to say yes, but we can only receive to the level that we believe. And if you have a demonstration that you would like to come up in a couple of minutes, we can take a few. I'll do one on behalf of my wife. She couldn't be here today. She decided to have a last-minute sale. She is an artist, for those of you who don't know. Very beautiful artist. Well, she's a beautiful artist, and she does beautiful work. But she decided for her birthday, which was on Friday, just to put a bunch of stuff online and say, here we go, in honor of my birthday, I'm going to have this. And she put a number in her head of how much she wanted. Came in 52 cents shy. So my wife is 52 cents shy of a full demonstration. But if you have a demonstration... Here, your demonstration. We don't know where it comes from. It just comes from the universe. So 52 cents. Excuse me? She's a little short, and she is a little short. And Donna, would you come up? And then we'll have Carol come up, and then we'll go to our closing song. Actually, how about if we do this? We have Carol come up, then you come up, and then you lead the song. Will that work? Carol, you want to come up, please?
You're down.
You're on.
Hi. It's so nice to be back. A couple months ago, we have a very dear friend who we've known 20, 25 years, and she passed, or transitioned.
Speak up a little bit.
A very dear friend of ours transitioned a couple months ago. So she was just a wonderful friend, and every time she'd come up to our house, she'd always clean up all my cupboards, and she'd clean out my refrigerator, and she was just this wonderful, loving person, so generous. So a couple weeks after we were informed of her passing, we received a letter in the mail addressed to James and myself, and it was from her jazzercise group, and I knew she'd been there, going there for a long time. We opened it up, and we were kind of curious, and every woman in her group, like 20, 30, 40, whatever, had signed on this note and said, we're in sympathy, we're sorry. And they each signed on both sides of the card and everything. And I was so touched. I was just like, how did they even know our name? I still don't know. So I looked up, I held that card, just next to me. The love that came through that for her and from them, it was stunning to me. And so I looked up her jazzercise group then online, because I really didn't know what it was all about. And they had some videos, and I saw her there. She was in the back, and I didn't have a picture of her, so I cut it out and I put it up in a little clear stand with the card. Anyway, I wanted to share that because it was just so much love. I was just stunned. Anyway, so thanks.
And I will let you take it from here.
Thank you. A couple of months ago, Brian and I were over at the Oyster Festival. We call in Arcata, we call that the Festival of Lines. You get in a line to everything. So I had worn kind of a heavy sweatshirt, and the day got warmer and warmer, and of course we're dancing and la. So I went, boy, I've got to get out of this sweatshirt. So we stopped in at Miranda's Rescue there on the plaza, and I found the greatest t-shirt. It had a big lab dog on it and said, every step you take, every bite you make, every blah, 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 I'll be watching you. That's what this shirt said. So we don't have a dog, and the shirt was very well worn. So I thought, I'm going to gift this to somebody at the right time. I walk in my neighborhood with some of my neighbors, and 3 days ago, we're walking, and right about Healthport came this young woman with a black lab puppy, one of those wiggly ones. And we encountered, Rhonda, my friend, and I encountered this young woman, and the dog was all friendly, and I had stuck that t-shirt in, I carry dog biscuits with me in my neighborhood, and I had put that t-shirt in that morning going, maybe it was intuition. Whatever it was, I just put the t-shirt in, and this gal, I reached in I said, can your dog have a biscuit? She goes, oh, sure. And here's this wiggly thing, all mouth and paws. And so I gave him a biscuit. His name was Norman. And I know all the dog names in my neighborhood. And so Norman he sat down and he was all calm. And I reached in my shirt. I went, in my little bag and pulled that shirt out. The dog on the shirt was Norman. So it was just so fun. And so got her name, Esperanza, and I said, would you like to have this shirt? Oh, I'd love that. And then she read what it said, and Norman read what it said, and Norman got another biscuit, and the shirt found a home, and I was so excited. Thank you. I'm back. And now if you'll stand, please, and join me in our closing song, which is We Are One. It is clear to me that a day can be full of friends for me.
You are